Matthew, my
Hey, hey,
friend, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Even though I just literally asked you that like 5 minutes ago.
Not even, but
Um,
that's okay. We're taking it as it comes, making it up as it goes.
oh, yes. So I thought today, perhaps we could work a little bit on take me home, Old Bay Roads. Um, just kind of putting ideas out um, for about an hour.
Okay.
So I started like putting together an appendix N. Um, trying to I might also add. Oh, whoa! What did I just do? I did. Nope.
You,
Nope.
you
Nope.
just,
Nope. No. Thank you.
you just,
I
you just changed your alignment, but
don't even know what I hit to do that. It was amazing. Some bullshit, I'm sure, with my giant fingers. Um, so I've been working on an appendix N this morning a little bit. Um, trying to kind of think about like tone and tenor of things. Um, of what I'm looking for in running something like this.
okay.
Um,
Hey, it's for Spike.
from Spike. But if you anything's kind of hitting that same touchdown,
I will have to lend you. It just came out recently. It's a YA graphic novel um, by Ryan North and Erica Henderson. Um, who were the team on the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl book at Marvel. And you would also know Erica Henderson as the artist from Assassination with Kyle Starks. Um, and I don't want to give too much away about it, but um, it starts out before Y2K. Y2K happens, and instead of all the computers like going, magic comes back to the world,
really.
and that's like the big millennial disaster, and then it kind of goes from there. Like it jumps forward in time, and people have kind of started to rebuild and learn the rules of the new world. Basically, technology doesn't work anymore because um, physics kind of stopped doing what it was supposed to when magic came back. So anyway, it's very interesting. It feels like it's kind of in this vein.
Okay.
It's great.
I'm kind of looking for. I think we talked a little about this before. Something kind of swinging that wide breadth and scope between pure like fey whimsy and the the woods at night are full of deep dark danger.
Yes.
um and your characters are young and need to be very careful about what they do. That's why I put something like Hasu and Hansel and Gretel on there.
Hmm.
And I also wanted something where, since they're very close to like where the barrier's really thin, that while there's definitely Fae and everything on the other side, that um, there's the equal and opposite of the oh, why was I can't think at all. Um, it's not the Feywild, it's the Shadowfell.
Ah,
That the barrier to the Shadowfell is thin too, so you have kind of ghosts leaked over. Because there's something I really find intriguing and very fun about yokai,
oh, I love that
like
whole.
house spirits.
Yes.
That can be helpful if treated correctly, but if treated poorly, And I like the idea of like being, forced is not the word I'm looking for, but like being compelled to be in this symbiotic relationship with them to be successful. Like doing little offerings in order to gain and curry favor with them, but at the same time, them doing things like, oh, you come home and there's a meal already prepared for you. It's basically hero's feast because they knew you needed it.
Yeah, it's a symbiosis. It's
I like that idea a lot. So I kind of I'm gonna add another category here. We're gonna beard this up.
what are you up to this morning, Super Spike? Right on. Nothing wrong with that. Don't need to be up to anything at all. Well, we appreciate you joining us,
Yes.
Spike. Always do.
Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna do is like do something kind of more outside what I normally do is no sci-fi.
Ah,
I generally enjoy my fantasy to be very intermixed with sci-fi, but in this case, I don't want to do that unless it's something like eventually running the breathless scope of Expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
okay.
Where like the whole dungeon is a fucking spaceship. Oh, thank you, Super Spike. It's very kind of you. Um, I'm also going to take one away that I normally very much enjoy.
You fooled another one, Ben.
Yeah, I'm real good at it. I'm glad you said that, Spike, because there are people that would fucking vastly disagree with you.
No, I mean, and to quote one of my favorite sketch comedy shows, I used to be a real piece of shit.
I don't know. I think some people
That
still
baby
think
knows I used to be a real piece of shit. It's okay.
I think there's people who still think I'm a real piece of shit. So
Yeah, and we all can be at times. It's you average out. I guess that's all you can do is try and put more good out there than bad.
yeah, I think I'm too stubborn to care
Yeah, well,
because like there comes a point where I'm just like I don't need your drama, so I'm out. Which can be very uncaring. But as I've stated before, and I'll state again, I'm all in until the output of energy becomes disappropriate to the input, and then I tend to be like, oh, I'm less into this. Yeah, so I love dinosaurs and kaiju, but I'm taking them out this time because I want to run something that's going to force me to do some different things. Um, because I really, really enjoy using dinosaurs. Um, so I thought I would take away a crutch because one of my things that I will fall to is in D&D when I'm struggling for monster to fit a certain criteria or a certain feeling, I'll be like, oh, there's a dinosaur for this. Dinosaurs become like a utilitarian tool for me, unfortunately. So no disrespect intended, Super Spike. It's merely a matter of like I'm trying to force myself to But see, here's my thing with that. There's an adventure called Tomb of Annihilation, and there's undead dinosaurs in it. And I love that adventure because one of the monsters you run from a lot is a zombified T-Rex whose mouth and guts are full of zombies that are falling out. And there's a picture of it, and it is fucking metal. So I don't want to do that. Because I was playing Tomb of Annihilation.
Because you're not fucking awesome.
Yeah. I was playing Tomb of Annihilation, and that adventure also, like when you're in the city of Cholt, you can engage in dinosaur racing, where you can like ride on dinosaurs. It's super awesome. I in fact, here's my thing with that entire book. The actual adventure is cool, but all the other shit in Cholt to do is far more fun.
I mean, I've played plenty of video games like that, where it's like, I know what you want me to do here. I don't care, though, because all this other stuff is way more appealing.
Yeah, I want to do all these mini quests and deal with all this shit going on in Cholt. I don't really... Oh, like raised dinosaurs, like in Dr. Mordred, or Dr. Morbid? What's the
Mordred.
word? Mordred. In Dr. Mordred, when they fight in the museum. That's an interesting thought. Okay, I'm gonna put a caveat here.
Living dinosaurs.
They can be skeletons.
I mean, I do. There was like some, toy line, and all it was like dinosaur skeletons that like these cave people had repurposed into like tanks and weapons of war. It's like, we're gonna take the skeleton and use like vines and wood and everything else to just make it into like a vehicle.
That sounds very Kirby, the Kirby world, which I really like that idea of like using all this wild shit to animate skeletons.
Well, the skeletons weren't even necessarily like, I mean, they were sort of animated, but it was all the shit, like it was pulleys and gears and whatnot that they had like grafted onto these bones to try and make them move around like they used to.
Like Heisei Mechagodzilla.
Yes.
Oh, fossilizers! I love that.
That might be. I can't remember that. That's there was a line called that. I'm confusing it with the Transformers thing.
If that's not, then we are going to put that in there.
And there was Bone Age.
Bone Age.
Yes.
That. Bone Age.
Bone Age. I can't remember if that was the line I was thinking of. The fossilizers were the Transformers, and that was kind of like, here's a skeleton with like some robot bits, or it was just a robot that turned into a skeleton.
These are, we're gonna put
yeah, I think it was Bone Age were the toys, but those just look like skeletons. They don't actually have shit grafted onto them, so I don't know what the hell I'm thinking of. Those are almost like skeleton fucking like Legos or construct. So it's like you could take like dinosaur parts and turn them into a dragster.
I like it. We're putting that in there.
I think I might be thinking it was like some Imaginext caveman or something.
Also, I want to give. So I used Goblin Vampires in a game before, and unfortunately, I didn't get to take it to the conclusion I wanted it to because the game I just got to the point where I was running too many games and I couldn't keep up with this game. I think I also just kind of frustrated with some of the people involved, to the point where I was like, hey, I'm already running a bunch of. I think I was probably running 4 to 5 games at that point.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm just not going to fucking put up with this. So, oh, Jesus, Transformers. So I kind of want to use goblin vampires again because I liked using them in the context of like kid vampires, like in Salem's Lot.
Okay. No.
Like there was a moment in that campaign where the players went into this cave and they thought that's where they were, and they went in like towards the end of day because it took them that long to get there, and there was no. They found like a goblin nest, like a cave, but they weren't in there. And then they realized they looked up, they were all hanging upside down above them,
Oh.
and they ended up having to run. Then it was not good. Also, in that game, the thing that changed all of them to vampires was an actual giant who had become a vampire and was living in a ziggurat. But I was like, I don't think I want to revisit that whole thing, but I like the goblin vampires. Like tiny feral children. Hey, Boss Fight's got some great stuff coming out.
They really do.
They're killing it. I know I'm not really in the know or in that kind of group right now, but that's wild. How the heck do you vampirize a giant? Powerful vampire. I mean, if I'm a powerful vampire and I need an underling, who's better than a giant? Who better? Maybe Canyon. Maybe. But I mean, imagine if I'm like Strahd von Zarovich or some other really powerful or Cast the Bloody Handed in D&D. Who would make a better second in command? Who would keep the rank and file in line? A goddamn giant would. That's who.
Until he decides he's in charge.
Well, I mean, with those two vampires, good luck with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Cass was already the second in command to Vecna and betrayed Vecna. So, and Strahd has no equal, as he'll tell you that constantly. Tiamat, that's true, but Tiamat's a god. Hard to turn a god into a vampire, regardless of alignment. What else? What else would be good for something like this? What we do want is household spirits, yokai. We do want all the fae. I think I'll go up here and put magic is prevalent, but hard to control, to harness and control. What else? So tell me how this sounds to you. I had this image in my head, and I'm sure it's a piece of art that I saw somewhere.
Yeah,
but it's an orc on like on stilts harvesting out of rice paddies.
Okay.
And I was like, I kept thinking back to like conscripted Chinese soldiers. Them being orcs though. Like orcs being kind of a farming society that also gets conscripted. Let me see if I can find that picture. There it is. It's from Eberron. I mean, it's just a great, like, it's such a like evocative picture. There, I put it in the primary, but I'll throw it in the private as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. Oh, that's continuation. Um, so I like that. Kind of as a, yeah, like aesthetically. Although I
Yeah.
also like in this picture, it looks like he's hunting snakes because he's got like snakes on his, like bound on his hip. Maybe he's half orc. I don't know. But I like the idea of like, relatively speaking, it's the environment as far as racially is calm. Like none of these villages are gonna go like
Yeah.
tooth and nail at each other. People of this area live in relative peace from one another, actively trade and work to strengthen alliances rather than undermine them. Matt, what is that noise?
That is a vacuum.
Okay. I didn't know what it was, and I was like, what in the hell is going on?
Danny must be vacuuming upstairs. He decided to do some cleaning today, so
Nice.
please enjoy the vacuum.
I thought it was me at first. I was like, what is going on?
No.
I had music going too, like in the background, and I was like, is that? No, I know this song, and that's not in this song.
It's the remix.
No Lovecraftian.
You're really trying to get outside your comfort zone here.
Yeah, that's generally something that is another crutch. I mean, it's not a crutch, but it's definitely a trope. Dinosaurs too, not necessarily a crutch, but I'd like to do horror without having it regress down to, Lovecraft.
Sure.
Because I do that.
So is it you're kind of envisioning that all these different societies are going to be kind of not necessarily aligned or allied, but they realize that this stuff out in the darkness is more of a concern than the town next town over or whatever.
Yeah. So there's an area, and again, they did a book for it. I can't think of the name of the adventure all of a sudden. Rime of the Frost Maiden, that's what it's called, which definitely has some Lovecraftian stuff in it. But it takes place in an area in the Forgotten Realms called 10 Towns. And
Okay.
it's 10 towns like dotting this. It's not quite Arctic region, but it's like very cold. The winters are super harsh.
All right.
So there's definitely like a thing vibe going on in some of it. Where this like very, very, very powerful Fey entity, the Frost Maiden, makes endless winter there. And so the players are trying to figure out how they can fix that. But I kind of would like to, Hey, Brian. I'd kind of like to have that feeling where the towns trade with one another, and I want to dot towns around this body of water, whether it's like a inland sea or whatever, because I also want that to be like something that's. I never do underwater stuff. So what do we want? We want underwater stuff. Because I'm always like, I should do some underwater stuff, and I never do it. Now I'll have one caveat here. So aboliths are like these massive creatures that are live in the ocean, and they have like they've been around forever. They're very Lovecraftian. I think they would make good like potential baddies. So as you can already see, I mean, there's definitely some horror to be hit there.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to figure out like what else would be something we could avoid. You've played enough games with me, you know the tropes I fall into. Chat, you guys have been and played in and watched enough games. You know where I butter my bread. Oh. Doctor says I need a neckiotomy.
Kick your leg out of your leg.
Mm.
And this is going to be, you're going to do this with the D&D engine, yeah?
I might use Cairn. I might use Cairn, I think, okay. Which is super stripped down D&D.
Okay.
It's only got 3 stats. It's easy to get. It's easier to like operate hirelings and henchmen. It's a free system. I feel like it might be. And combat is like one thing I'm interested in. That is you get hit every turn. Like there's no roll to hit.
Oh.
You hit and they hit. It's all about how much damage.
They hit, we hit, you hit.
So it goes quick. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
you might get hit and take no damage because your armor is good enough, but you also may take, because you have HP, but it's not hit points. I can't remember what it stands for. It's like a pool of points. That's like your soak. Okay. So let's say you get hit and you have 3 left in your HP pool and your armor is 1, and you get hit for 5. That would go through your soak and through your armor, so 1 point would hit you. But you don't have hit points in this game. Your damage comes off your strength score. So let's say you have a strength of 15. So in this game, you just roll a 20-sided dice, and everything you want to do, you want to roll under that score. So if you're trying to do something strength-based, you want to roll under 15. Well, now you've taken damage, so now you're at 14. So I kind of like that simplicity, which could be fun.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely. It really, I mean, it depends on the type of game and players you've got. But if you're looking for more of a storytelling sort of thing, stripping out the systems, all the technical, roly, my score versus your score type stuff is a good way to focus in on that.
I also like that it still has like an advantage disadvantage system in the fact that usually when you roll advantage disadvantage, it's roll 2 20-sided dice, take the higher number or take the lower number depending on. In this, it's like, since you're not rolling to hit, it's if you have advantage, you don't roll a 6-sided dice for damage, you roll an 8-sided dice. And if you have disadvantage, you roll a 4-sided dice.
Okay.
Since you're already going to hit, it's just about.
Yeah.
And for me, if I'm thinking about taking on another game that would be, a monthly game, this game, one thing I like about it is the prep and character creation time are non-existent.
That is nice.
Like the guy whose video I watched about it was like, I've never played this system before. I'm a long time OSR D&D player though, and some 5th edition. We made characters in less than 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's.
And then he linked to the guy who ran for him, who has his own YouTube thing, and he talked about how he ran 9 sessions with all new players in 3 days and did no more than 15 minutes prep per session.
Wow.
And I was like, this is right up my alley. Like this would be super super sweet for playing, kind of fantasy, but not having to onboard someone into like all of
deep
deep lore D&D.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull the rules book up, because it's really really small. I think it maybe is 70 pages.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's.
"24 pages.
Jeez.
It's classless. There's no alignment. Characters may be powerful, but are also vulnerable to harm in many forms. Death is always around the corner, but it's never random or without warning. It's fiction first. It's about growth of characters. It's all about player choice and having shared objectives." I really really like how they've laid this out.
Yeah, that approach seems very in line with what I've seen you'd like to do. So
you have 3 scores. You have strength, dex, and will.
Okay.
Also, if I remember correctly, in this game, you have inventory based on like space. So like there's the mini inventory game. If not, I may just add that in there.
Sure.
So Matt, do you have a D20 lying around, or can you grab one?
I sure do.
Let's make a guy. You save this. Like we'll give it a test run here and see how simple it really is. Okay. So you have some dice on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roll a D10 for your physique.
No. That's a 10. That's a 10. 7.
So you would be short.
Okay.
Roll another D10.
1.
With a birthmark.
Okay.
Another D10.
Oh, that's actually a D12. Let me find my D10. Must be it. All right. 5.
With frizzy hair.
Okay.
Another D10.
7.
With a rat-like face. Another D10.
8.
Who has a squeaky voice. Okay, another D10.
10.
Who wears soiled clothes. I'm sorry, I had to fix a spelling error.
No.
Another D10.
8.
Who's merciful.
Okay.
Another D10.
4.
Also known to be deceitful. Another D10.
4 again.
You have a reputation as an entertainer. The D10.
4.
Who has been condemned by someone.
Oh.
Some group. Roll a D20.
20. 4.
Has brigandine armor, which is just leather. Roll another D20.
7.
Yep. Has no shield or helmet. Okay. Roll another D20.
10.
Would you want a sword, a mace, or an axe?
Super Spike, make the call. Sword and mace or axe?
Axe.
All right.
Yeah, I know, Super Spike. When things like this really, I think are interesting to make characters with. Expeditionary gear. I don't know how many you get, but we're going to say 1 for right now. Roll a D20.
Okay. 4.
You have 10 foot of chain.
16 odd foot of grunts.
Roll me a D20, you son of a gun.
17.
You also have a saw.
Okay.
Roll me another D20.
Yep, that's my D10 again. 14.
Oh, that's not what I wanted. 14. You also have a salt pack.
All right.
And now roll me another D20.
6.
You get to roll again on expeditionary gear, so roll me a D20.
All right. 18.
You also have a spyglass. So the other cool thing about this is anyone can cast spells.
Oh.
There are no classes.
Right.
It's a classless game. So all you have to do to cast spells is have a spell book. And then to cast a spell, it requires you to use both hands to cast it. So you can't do anything else while you're doing it.
Okay.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
To me. And the spells are very, very, very open compared to D&D. Like D&D spells are very much like you can do this and this only for this amount of time in this area of effect. Whereas spells in this are look, it's like a sentence.
Oh, wow. So it's a lot of more like, you tell me how this works, or
Exactly.
convince me that it works the way you're trying to use it.
Mm-hmm. Cone of foam, dense foam sprays from your hand coating the target. That one's pretty straightforward. I'm trying to think for one that's not straightforward. He showed one, and I can't remember what it was now, where it was like, if you're playing with power gamers and rules people, this will be a clusterfuck.
That could break your game,
But there's a spell called multi-arm. You can temporarily gain a extra arm. Where's one? I was trying to find a good one here. I just can't remember the one he mentioned where I was like, oh, that's wild. There's the character sheet.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's, just real straightforward.
Oh, so yeah. So strength loss also leads to fatigue. And the more you carry, the more tired you get. So this is how many slots you have in your backpack.
Okay. So it's okay. So you can carry stuff, but you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, so it doesn't quite have like the inventory systems that I'm becoming fascinated with is the ones where like this object is this shape. How do you fit it into your backpack?
Well, that's some Resident Evil 4 shit.
Yeah, it's also like Dredge is like that. There's a lot of games, Stonehearth, those games where it's like, hey, you found this, you killed this deer. You want the meat and the leather. How do you fit it in your backpack? You're gonna have to leave some sticks behind. No, it's you can carry it in your book. It's when you want to cast the spell, Spike. So like if you're in combat and you want to cast a spell, it means you have to put your weapon away, pull the book out.
Well, and then so books take up inventory too, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can have all the spells you want, but you got to choose what you're bringing.
And my understanding, because I haven't read the rules completely, is each book is one spell.
Yeah, probably.
Which is very, again, like video game RPG like.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about running Old Fay Roads on this system. I mean, God, this book is really, really, really short.
Yeah.
24 pages. Again, it's free. That's the other cool thing.
Oh, nice.
You can go into RPG, drive through RPG and pick it up for nothing. I think I think it's pay what you want, if I remember correctly. I think I paid a couple bucks just because I was like, hey, this is really cool. Spellbooks contain a single spell and take up one item slot. Anyone can cast a spell by holding the spellbook in both hands and reading the contents out loud. Casting a spell adds fatigue to your inventory. That's right. It doesn't make it heavier. Fatigue takes up spots in your inventory.
Oh.
So like, where's the character sheet again? So here's what you're carrying in your hand, and here's your fatigue spots. So, like, if fatigue starts taking up all these spots, which again kind of reminds me of like in certain card games, like I can't remember the Marvel game that Beard loves so much.
Is it Snap?
No, the actual card game, which he has like everything.
Oh yeah. The only one I can think of is Overpowered. I know that's not it.
No, it's a Marvel card game, and you can end up like the game can give you basically like cards in your deck that just take up space.
Oh.
So I mean, like certain damage you take and things like that, you get these cards you can't mill out, or you can mill out, but I mean you have to mill through in your deck. It's brutal, especially when you get a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Because then you like don't get to do anything. You're stuck trying to get through these cards every turn. That you can't play. You have to actually mill them out of your deck. So that one Doom game where if you wanted to use a flashlight, you had to put yeah. Although I think I would. A lot of the games I like, you can then, if you find duct tape, you just duct tape the flashlight to the gun. So, I mean, I think that there's ways kind of to talk about making that a little bit more interesting. But I really. So combat, the attacker rolls their weapon die and subtracts the target's armor, then deals the remaining total to their opponent's HP. I'm just to see if it tells us what HP is again. Hit protection. HP indicates a piece's ability to avoid getting hurt. It is lost during combat and recovered after a few minutes of rest. So it's basically like temporary hit points. So you subtract. I mean that's really pretty easy.
Yeah.
Well, unarmed always does a D4.
Oh yeah, that's a super. I mean, slick.
So this is also cool. This is something else I was like, oh God, this is amazing. If an attack reduces a PC's HP to 0, exactly 0, you go to the scars table. And I know it sounds like, oh, scars. The scars table actually is like good things. Like you can get cool shit off here.
Oh.
Where's this? There it is. When an attack reduces you then roll on a d12. It looks like. Oh no! When an attack reduces a PC's HP to 0, they are uniquely impacted. Look up the resultant table below based on the total damage taken.
Okay.
So, like, let's say 3, walloped. You're sent flying and land flat on your face, winded. You are deprived until you rest for a few hours. Then roll 1d6. Add that amount to your max HP. So, like, you just got tougher because at one time you got knocked the fuck out.
Right.
And it's permanent.
Interesting.
Like 12, which is the highest you can get, death seemed ever so close, but somehow you survived. If your next save against critical damage is a fail, you die horribly. If you pass, roll 3d6. If the total is higher than your max HP, take the new result.
Okay.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Sundered, an appendage is torn off or crippled or useless. The warden will tell you which. Then make a will save. If you pass, increase your will by 1d6.
Oh.
It just has a really slick, simple thing going on.
Yeah.
If you're going to use two weapons, at the same time, roll both damage dice and keep the single highest result. There was one, where was it? Hirelings. PCs can hire hirelings to aid them in their expeditions. To create a hireling, roll 3d6 for each ability score, then give them 1d6 HP and a simple weapon. Then roll on the character creation tables to further flesh them out. Hirelings cost between 1 and 3 gold pieces per day, or a share of whatever treasure the party obtains. So back in the day, hirelings and henchmen were a big deal in D&D. Because you knew, like...
Thanks for hopping on.
Bye, Brian! You knew you were squishy. So you're like, I need a bunch of meat shields. Well, I really like when you go back and you read about like Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax playing or running games, is hirelings and henchmen became very important characters. Especially those who lived, because they were like your confidants, your friends. Sometimes they became players. Sometimes people who were playing said, I don't want to play my main character. I want to play my, hireling right now.
Yeah.
So I love that idea as well.
Oh yeah.
It like flushes things out. I mean, it could just be a friend who you've convinced to come with you.
Right.
So I think we've determined that this... Matt, who is this guy? Who is this beautiful boy you've created?
Yeah, zoom in here.
I mean, all we would need to do is roll 3d6 3 times to get your stats. That's it. Then you're ready to roll.
Yeah. Who is this character? Known reputation as an entertainer.
We're going to do that real quick. Strength, your dex. Matt, do you have 3d6?
Oh yeah.
Now I want to know.
I'm a Shadowrun boy. I got D6s up the yin yang.
Well, you should run Shadowrun. I haven't played Shadowrun since high school.
Well, okay. So there's Spike's suggestion for a name.
It is not a bad name.
All right, I roll 6.
You tell me where you want to put it.
Okay. I got a 6, a 3, and a 4.
So that'd be 13?
Well, no, so that's my 3 rolls. So
on 3d6, you got a 6, a 3, and a...
Oh, I'm 3d6.
Yeah, 3d6. Okay. Sorry.
No. All right, so that is 9. We got 9. And 7. So...
You rolled like ass, man.
Yeah, well, that's... you know,
I mean, where would you put him?
Bobbert's had a tough life.
Are we going with Bobbert
Sure.
McHavarty?
Yeah, sure. I'll do 7 strength, and then I'll put the 9 into the other 2. Yeah, that was a better roll. That's a 14. The hell.
All right, yeah, there you go. You're set to play. Give that man a reroll.
Oh no. You play it as it lies.
What would be Bobbert McHavarty's birthmark?
See, now I'm just thinking of 30 Rock, where one of the characters gets like bullied into he's balding, so they're like, just shave off like that thing around the back of your head, and he does, and they're like, oh, I didn't know you had a birthmark. It's like, it looks like a swastika made out of penises.
All I could think of, honestly, looking at this, I was like, do you have like Ratman blood in your family?
Yeah,
Like lycanthropy ran in your family, like rat, you know,
yeah.
Skaven blood, or whatever. I can't remember. Are they just called weird rats? Yeah, I think they're just called weird rats. Because also, on that same kind of note, in the Warhammer Fantasy RPG, and like I think I played 2nd edition was the one I played a bunch of. One of the professions you could get was rat catcher.
Oh.
Which was a very dangerous job, because you went into the fucking sewers, and in Warhammer Fantasy, like, you're a squishy fuck. There are Skaven that live in the sewers, among other things, that wish to kill you and eat you. So I died. I had so many characters die in that game. It was so much fun. It was like, don't get married to any of these characters. They ain't living long. So what would the birthmark be? Would it be a swastika made of penises?
No, it will not be that. Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm thinking just like a blotch sort of on the face, like over like one eye.
Over the left eye. What color? Purple blotch?
Yeah. I'm thinking like, just based on the appearance, this person had to get funny or good at singing or acting or something to make up for,
Singer, then?
I don't know. I can't decide, because the deceitful thing lines up with like acting a bit too.
No, I love that idea.
So yeah, like,
the local actor.
okay, yeah, that.
Purple blotch looks like it stares into your soul. It's fair. Who condemned you? Who hates acting and deceitful actors? I'll tell you who I think hates deceitful actors. Husbands or the clergy.
Well, yeah, I mean, this guy doesn't sound like he's taking anybody's wife, but maybe he's just got that much charisma. I would almost say
I think Will might be like your charisma. Let's find out.
I would almost say like maybe somebody who like.
Yeah, Will is your it's your persuade, deceive, interrogate, intimidate, charm, provoke, manipulate spells.
I'm gonna say it's like a more a more not successful. Well, yeah, successful. A more successful actor.
What's this person's name?
Who's also like a producer and whatever, and writer who's pissed that Bobbert upstaged him, because this guy's more successful because he's handsome and's got money, but Bobbert can outact him any day of the week. So it's a
there's a little Garth Marenghi for you. Who's this? What's this guy's name? I'm assuming it's a guy. It could be a gal.
it's a guy. I'm thinking it's, well, let's see. Let's see. Let's see here. What is like I'm trying to think of another. Okay, there we go. Stefan Melba.
Oh,
I'm just going Stephen Toast from
oh,
Toast
you
London.
yeah. Stefan, I'm trying to. Would it be like that?
Or you could do it with like STFAN.
Which do you prefer?
I think let's do that. That's a little more, hoity-toity. So
Okay, cool.
You got to get some Matt Berry in.
Yes, for sure. God damn it, Clem Fandango.
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango. Ray fucking Purchase.
Ray Purchase is such a good villain on that show. And I also like the fact that I kind of have to ask myself, is Ray really the villain? I mean, Toast is sleeping with his wife.
Yeah, no, they're both villains.
Yeah, they're kind of shitty people.
They're just shitty people. Being shitty.
Oh my gosh. So like
there we go. We got
my question. Yeah, my question to you, Matt.
Yes.
As well as Super Spy. How does that strike you as far as a character? Like, I guess my other questions would be why are your clothes soiled? How are you known as being merciful, and why are you known as being deceitful?
I mean, I would say the soiled clothes thing is because now he's down on his luck that Melba has basically, blacklisted him.
Makes sense. Why are you known as being merciful then? Like, I know why I think you'd be known as merciful, but this is not my story.
Right.
Do you want to know? Right. Do you want to know what my thought was?
Yeah. What is your thought? I'm curious.
Is that Stefan sought to publicly shame you, and when he did, Bobbert said basically, "I demand satisfaction," and beat him publicly. Oh. But didn't kill him,
right?
Which was his mistake.
Right, and I could see that also further kind of like casting him down the social ladder. Like
I also like Super Spike. That's a really good one too.
He could do both.
What was your thought on that?
I didn't really. I was formulating one. I like yours a lot though, where it's like, you had, or maybe he knows something about Stefan that could that could ruin him, but he doesn't want to go that way.
One thing I like thinking about in that respect is that like maybe it's something that all the theater guild, all the actors guild know, but you actually have physical proof, but you refuse to use it because you don't see it as being like an honest thing to do, or maybe it would break a code, between actors or whatever.
Yeah, or he had been told it in confidence.
Hell, maybe drunk ass Stefan told you at one point.
Yeah.
In confidence. So why are you known to be deceitful? Because of your superb acting ability? Or would it be
I would say known to be deceitful because Stefan has talk shit about him, and he is such a good actor that people believe that he's a liar, even if he isn't. I think Stefan is just like, yeah, this guy's full of shit all the time. He's lying about everything. Stefan's a real piece of shit, basically. And I suppose the appearance thing too. People would be like, "Oh yeah, that guy's obviously."
Yeah. So, what are our thoughts here? Like, what do we think about this process? What do you think about this as a system? What do
I
you
think
think
it's
about this?
really. I like that it's. I mean, you come up with, you make your roles, and you come up with your character based on that. I like that a lot. It's really, it's easy to jump into, and for people who are maybe less, experienced with the systems, where it's like, oh, I have to come in with a character, and make all that stuff, like, and I'm trying to do something specific, and hope that my roles take me there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the other way around, where it's like, well, here's your skeleton, slap some meat on them bones.
One thing I like about it a lot is that you could do this as a group and not
Oh yeah,
have it take up a lot of time.
no, and
And people could help bounce ideas on who you are.
bounce ideas off each other, and get into the, work in the, some of that, fuck, Powered by the Apocalypse stuff too, and build relationships as part of the process between the characters, if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know. I think that in itself has me very much thinking about doing this, because it's easy. It's easy. It feels very. Oh, by the way, I just saw Jimothy Sanderson, which I also thoroughly love. That's fucking great. That's true. I get that. But at the same time, that other multiverse could be super fun. I mean, if nothing else, this is an intriguing NPC.
Yeah.
Which is, fully fleshed, or even a hireling.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other nice thing about that setup, is you can just, as a GM, or a player, if you need, like, I need a hireling, or as a GM, I need an NPC, like, you can just create them that quick. And fully fleshed out. It's not like, oh, I need to come up with a story and then put some stats to it. It's like, you're done.
Yeah, I am
Yeah, I'm impressed. That's
sometimes I find with simplicity, it really. I mean, just think everything that I'm now making italics is stuff we just literally came up with in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That wasn't rolled. Which, really, really, really fleshes out that person. Everything else, had its role. So actually, I'm going to do this. So my thought on doing this game would be to do it like I do Chaos Scar. And one thing I always like, Chaos Scar has been very much like, it's adventure focused. Hey, we're going to do this thing. This would be kind of the opposite of that. It would be more like, hey, all my RPers out there. Do you want a game that's a little less focused and a little more like, what do you want to do? Also, I would want to use, and I'm not sure if Kieran has a whole lot on this, which actually I was going to pull it up and see. I love this fatigue in your inventory thing too.
Yeah, that is cool. It's a fun.
And I also love the fact that you can get stuff back just by like, I need to sit down for 10 minutes and rest. It's kind of like short rest, but less like, less like systematic. It's more just like our dudes are sitting down by this pond, we're ready to go now. Also, you have pre-made gear packages. So if you're like, I don't want to roll anything, this is what I have. Okay, there's what you have. Rather than if you didn't want to roll on the equipment list. But like, and if they don't have it, I'm sure another game does that I can steal from, like a crafting system.
Oh yeah.
I would like a simple crafting system, because one thing I want about Old Fey Roads is like, I want people to, like, if somebody was like, I don't want to do a bunch of like going and fighting stuff, but I'd like to make a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I want to be a crafter.
Yeah.
I like that ideas a lot. I mean, here's how you create monsters. Because there's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 monsters in the game, in the book.
And then the rest you just, okay.
Yep. Which is a lot like making characters.
Yeah.
And it just tells you like, hey, if they have 3, it's sufficient, 6 is weak, 10 is average, 14 is noteworthy, 18 is legendary.
And then they've got some conversion rules there, which is nice.
So, and they're OSR, so you could just pull out your old school Dungeons and Dragons stuff and go, okay, I'm just going to convert this over.
Yeah.
And then you would roll, like when you find a spell book, you just roll on a D100 and that's the spell you get. But you're also, I love the fact, okay, so you put your original strength score there, or dex or will, whatever, and then as you're losing that from taking damage, you just keep your new score there until you have a chance to rest in it and get it back up.
That's, yeah.
I'd have to reread what deprived was. I think that might have to do with like eating and
deprivation. There it is. Yep.
You can't recover HP.
Okay.
So that's, I'm very, I very much like this, because you could also make new spells pretty easily. You could just say, hey, I like this D&D spell a lot. How can we distill it down into its most base? Like, I don't think Vampiric Touch is like in here. Nope, it's not. Like, but Vampiric Touch. You cast a spell that you roll like damage, and whatever damage gets through the soak and the armor, you gain that many HP back. That's all it would be. And that's pretty gamified as it is. Because I don't see a whole lot of... I'm looking to see if I see any offensive spells here. Let's just look for Fireball. I guess that's the easiest thing.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's in.
Yeah, I don't see Fireball at all.
Interesting.
So I'm kind of wondering if spells aren't actually like super offensive.
Offensive? Yeah.
I mean, their spells, it looks like the spells all can give you things that you can use offensively, but in their self, they're not offensive.
Okay. That's interesting.
Also, I love the idea that, if you have the book, you could cast a spell over and over again.
Yeah.
Which I kind of want to know more about. I'd have to read more, which it's not like this is long. I just need to read. Of like what this casting spells. It adds fatigue.
Okay.
So if I cast a spell, it adds fatigue to my inventory. Which, I mean, hey.
Yeah.
The other thing I like about this game is it brought morale back.
Oh.
So for monsters and for hirelings, they have to make morale checks. So, if monsters fail the morale checks, they're like, fuck it, this is too much, I'm out. Discretion, the better part of valor. But same thing for hirelings. they might go, no amount of gold is worth dying. I like the idea that they have self-preservation.
Right.
So Cairn is something that would intrigue you to bring you to the table, is what you're saying.
I mean, it's a lot less daunting to me than D&D. That's for sure.
I heard the guy whose video I watched about it described it as I love this cover too.
Yeah.
Also, you're getting the finger there. I like the idea of this as almost like a gateway.
Yes.
This is definitely like a very much a gateway game. So that in itself also, but I figure kind of since Chaos Guard can be it can be at times a little daunting.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of a supplementary, like monthly game would be pretty easy.
Yeah, well, and easier for you, I think, too, in some ways.
But also one thing I really like Chaos Guard because it's very action oriented.
Yeah.
It's definitely a beer and pretzels, hip hip hooray style game,
Mm-hmm.
which I think has its place and it's very fun to run. I've had a lot of players who like that more than anything else. They want the same vibe as playing like Diablo 3 of like, hey, we went and smashed everything, you know?
Right.
Which like I said, I think definitely has its place and it's very fun. I enjoy that, but that's not my favorite style of game.
Okay.
I have over time grown to love games that are far more RP centric.
Yeah.
Where the players are kind of telling this story together and it can be a story about anything. So I guess like Down Outlands is a good example of that. And even better probably was Domains of Dread before that. Domains of Dread, it was very much like because it was horror, it was very, very much like,
yeah.
I mean, it was D&D horror, but it was horror nonetheless. So it was very much like I'm trying to think of the words I want to use here. It was more oriented towards like the storytelling portion, and like choices. There wasn't a whole lot. I can think of about 5 or 6 moments where the combat was like the primary fear-based thing going on. So I think that Cairn then will be the system I'm going to use. And I still want to do the Star Wars monthly game too.
Oh, wow.
I if I'm doing games on a monthly basis,
Mm-hmm.
it gives me plenty of time. And if I'm doing like 3 different things, I feel like that gives me plenty of ways to not get. I just realized I'm just like moving my head as far away from my camera as possible, which is I've been told is bad streaming, but I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
Have you seen my streams? They're bad regardless of what I do.
Yeah, you're doing them the way you want to do them. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're running 3 different kind of ongoings, all of them being kind of troop style beyond Down and Outlands might be the best bet for that. Because if I'm doing Down Outlands is my regular Saturday night thing or Monday night thing, if that's for lack of a better term. You're my regular Monday night thing, baby. And I want to keep it that way, but I also want to run it in seasons to where, I can take a break from it, which I know I keep saying that, but yeah, I keep adding things constantly to it to make it go longer this season, which is my own fault. But I just have so many stories of stuff I would like to do, and the players keep doing awesome stuff. But then like Chaos Scar is kind of like my off the rails. Let's fucking go. Let's do something dumb. But I feel like this would be kind of a good middle ground between Chaos Scar and Down Outlands.
Yeah.
And then you throw in, Star Wars, which is fucking buck wild different. And like as we talked about, I think it was we talked about on here, Star Wars would be, also troop style play. We'd have a group of players, but it's troop style in the fashion that the people who would be involved would all have potentially multiple characters.
Yeah,
you could draw from. I don't know. I'm looking for feedback of what people would like to see, how they would like to see it, what interests them as far as playing, but also what interests folks as far as like watching as well. I had somebody say to me not too long ago, like, if like 3 people are watching, why are you doing it? I was like, because I have fun doing it. But they were like,
and you'd be doing it even if you weren't streaming it, probably.
But I was just kind of like, okay, yeah. I mean, I get their perspective as well.
Sure, but
it's just also kind of like, well, fuck you, man.
Yeah, I mean that's not why you're doing it. If it happens, great, but it doesn't. I mean, yeah.
I have no desire to have like anything other than what I have. So, but I don't know. Anyway, thoughts, critiques, suggestions are always welcome. Your thoughts, feelings, Matthew?
I mean, that's 4, a game a week. That seems like a lot, but
well, and I think it is, and I think you're right with that. But I think it's, if I did it every Monday and I said, we're going to play from 7 to never later than 10.
Sure.
I think it would work reasonably well. And then Down Outlands, when it moves to season, when we get out of this season and we start heading towards the next season, in between, I could either not run anything or I could potentially run other things. I could run some miniseries. My things with miniseries, like I was really excited to run some miniseries, but every time I tried to get one off the ground, I couldn't get any. I couldn't get any. I'd get interest, but I would not get any like commitment. So when you guys want to do this, and there would be like dead silence.
Yeah, and I think that might be the thing you run into. I mean, obviously you can just try it and see what happens, but I think that might be the thing you run into is that you'll have people who would be interested, but not maybe committing. And I don't know if the player pool is large enough that you would, be able to sustain,
So one thing I've learned
until you try.
One thing I've learned from Chaos Scar is I had 1 month where I didn't have players.
Okay.
And then I've had 1 month where the folks who it was their turn to play couldn't settle on a date. Other than that, I've had wild interest. I might have someone message me the day after last session who played in that session and said, can I play again next month? And I was like, well, the rule is like every other month to give other people, because right now I currently basically have 2 groups who are playing consistently. And I have a bunch of other people who occasionally go like, hey, is there a spot for me this month? So my thought is like, if I have folks who maybe aren't playing Chaos Scar this month, they might say, hey, can I play in, Take Me Home Mulfe Roads?
Okay.
Instead. And that way they could have a monthly game. Because I feel bad telling someone I don't have a spot for you, because what I'm trying to do is limit the number of people.
Right.
The more people I have, the more it gets complicated to give. I'm keeping it between 4 and 5 because I think I've said this before. I'm pretty good at doing the jump cut. Like, meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice cut. in trying to balance things relatively effectively. But I always feel bad, and D&O is a perfect example of this. I feel bad because sometimes I feel like not everybody gets the same amount of screen time every time. And I keep having to remind myself that I think re-listening to some Adventure Zone has helped with this. Is that not every story has a player. Some stories have one player who kind of is the central focus, and the other players are kind of playing guest star. And that, if you're smart, that can rotate.
Yeah.
And even in something like Adventure Zone, where you have one brother who loves to be the center of attention, you can still work around that. Even if you have a middle child who's screaming, "Look at me" all the time, you can still kind of move around that effectively and not make them the center all the time. But I also believe in rewarding buy-in. So if I have someone who's super bought in and, is like, wants to be the center of that and is pushing that, I want to make sure that, as opposed to someone who's just like, billet, smash with axe. That's your move. Yep. You want to do anything else? Nope. Because I've also played that character where I've been like, I'm not really big into what else is going on. I just want to be the smashy guy.
Right.
I think I even said on this stream before that I played a character in the playtest for 5th edition that when we played White Plume Mountain, and when my character wasn't basically doing murder, he would just go take a nap. Because one of his things was he was tired. He was just tired and put upon. Everything was like, this is just, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And that was the character trait. And I liked that character trait because it kind of also informed, like when things would happen and someone would say, "Hey, remember when they told it?" He would go, "Nope."
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't paying any attention. Like, I thought you said we were going to go hit something. Like, I care about drink, food, women in one of those orders, and also smashing things. Money is because I like money because money gets me those first 3 things. And how do I get money? Smash. If I didn't have to smash because I had a bunch of money, I wouldn't do any of this. Like, literally an adventurer who's like, "Hey, if I could retire, I would."
Yeah.
I don't really want to do this. I would prefer not to die. I'm not doing this for any greater good. I'm doing this because I want to eat good food. I want to sleep with beautiful people, and I want to drink the best spirits. That's basically it. Oh, soft beds were also very important. But I think you can play that character too, and even in Cairn, and but I would definitely say, like, for Zach, who was running that game, it allowed the other 2 or 3 players who were playing in that to by far have more of the kind of personality screen time. Because if they were like start talking about their backstory, my character would just yawn and go lay down in the corner. You're talking? I'm sorry, I don't care. I'm not a dick. I'm just real tired. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of my loose plan.
Right on.
I know I can scoop you into Star Wars. That's a done deal. I gotta scoop you into this.
I gotta figure out my schedule in my life.
Man, life is bullshit. I hate it. Every time I feel like I'm getting ahead of it, it's just like goes, "No, you're not."
It's
Hey, remember me? I'm adversity. I'm coming knocking. I feel like we did good work today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like we got some things on paper.
Yeah.
I feel like we got. I had hoped we'd have a couple more people show up besides like the folks we did. Which Super Spike, thank you so much as always for your contributions. You
always.
really, really, really make a huge difference in everything we work on. But I feel like we got some stuff going there. Also, I eventually would like to go back to working on our Kirby World project too.
Mm.
And I'm still hoping someone will volunteer to do editing, but I'm starting to lose some hope there. For hard times.
I don't think it's impossible that that I could have some time for that. I've just got some projects ahead of me that I need to prioritize. But
Well, Matthew, where will people find you this week?
I'll be doing blah, blah, chop on Tuesday on the Dave Wonder channel, and I'll be back here next Sunday, as far as I know. So
Is Chop Shop the new name?
Chop and Shop, yeah.
Is it Chop and Shop or Talk?
Chop and Shop, if I remember right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Super Spike.
Solid new name.
If you ever want to stop by.
I thought about doing my own thing with that. I'm still trying to work my way. I might do a thing just called Mang on Mang and do some painting or something.
You're always welcome. But
I don't know about that.
I think you would be, but anyway, we don't need to get into that.
But yeah, I thought about maybe doing it because I'd like to get back doing a little bit of painting and stuff. Because I have not really had the heart for it of late.
Yeah, I mean it comes and goes.
But anyway, next week, I'm trying to remember what I have next week. I have nothing on Monday. So it'd probably just be Thursday is Spoopy Boys. I'm hoping to get everything squared away with Beard this week so we can get our watch party stuff set up. And then Friday will be bad at games. I don't know what we're playing. But I got a lot of stuff to play. And then next Sunday for this. And next Sunday, I think you want to do some DNO next Sunday?
Works for me.
I had DNO a week from this Monday. And I kind of got some rough ideas, but I think having some assistance with the focus and some ideas outside my small sphere of brain would be helpful. So I think maybe we'll do that.
Okay. Yeah.
You were going to figure out if you were in for Spoopy Boys yet. I think you were.
Yeah, I gotta see what my week looks like and what Danny's got going on, all that stuff, where I need to be and when. So
I'm going to tell you again, Matt. I'm going to entice you with the sweetest of sweets, young Jason Alexander with no shirt on. All right. I think that's it. I hope you guys all have a good rest of your Sunday.
Yeah.
I hope that everyone's doing well. And thank you guys so much for hanging out and giving us such good ideas. And we'll see you when we see you, I guess. Bye.